Have you ever had the feeling that you're living a life that looks good from the outside, but somehow doesn't quite feel like you? Maybe you've said yes when everything within you was screaming no. Maybe you've smiled when you were really hurting. Or maybe you've become so good at meeting everyone else's expectations that you've lost touch with your own. Most of us know what it feels like to live disconnected from ourselves. And we usually think the answer is to become someone better, to learn more, to heal more, to improve more. But what if the real work isn't in becoming someone else? What if it's becoming more fully yourself? That's what today is all about. Hey, it's Kelly G, your Radiance coach. Welcome to the Embodied Radiance podcast, episode number 9. Congruence is what happens when your inner experience and your outer expression begin to match. When what you feel, what you value, what you believe, and how you actually show up in your life start telling the same story. Congruence isn't perfection, it's alignment. It's living in a way that reflects what is true inside of you. That's what all of this work that we've been doing is pointing us toward. Not becoming someone new, becoming more fully yourself. What's worth understanding is that most of us weren't taught congruence. We were taught how to adapt. Be nice. Don't rock the boat. Don't be too much. Don't be too loud. Don't disappoint anyone. Fit in. And many of those messages helped us to survive. We've talked about that through the radiant compassion process, how our adaptations were intelligent, protective, and made complete sense given where we came from. But somewhere along the way, we stopped asking, what feels true for me? And we started asking, what will be accepted? Living in that gap between who you truly are and who you think you have to be is exhausting. And that exhaustion is also information. If you've been feeling tired lately, it might not only be because you're doing too much. It may also be because you're carrying too many versions of yourself. One of the reasons so many people feel chronically tired isn't because they're doing too much. It's because they're carrying too much. They're carrying the weight of performing, of self-monitoring, of constant editing, of trying to predict how others will perceive them, of trying to become an acceptable version to others, of trying to avoid rejection. And all of that takes enormous amounts of energy that could be going toward creating and connecting and contributing to the world in your unique way. Energy that could be going toward actually living. Congruence is freeing, not because life gets easier, but because you stop spending so much of yourself and so much energy trying to manage how you're perceived. You get that energy back and you can start using it for something that feels real and right for you. People often ask me what embodiment actually is. It's not necessarily a yoga pose or a breathing practice, though those can support embodiment. Embodiment is when Who you are authentically shows up in how you move and what you say, what you choose, and how you live. It's not just having information, it's putting it into practice, living into it. Now, in yoga philosophy, there's a concept called satya, and it's often translated as truthfulness. Most people think of satya as not lying to others, but there's a deeper practice here in not lying to yourself. Satya means not overriding what you know to be true inside, not silencing what your body is trying to tell you, not ignoring those whispers from your inner wisdom. And here's something I've learned through all of my years of yoga therapy and coaching and mental health therapy and simply paying attention to my own body. Your body is always giving you honest information. Before your mind catches up, before you find the words, your body is already communicating. It's speaking to you through that tightening in your chest or the heaviness in your stomach, through your total loss of energy, or through that sense of expansion. It isn't that your body is telling you exactly what to do in those moments, but it is inviting you to become curious. It's offering you information in the way that it knows how. And the more we learn to listen without immediately dismissing or overriding that information, the more congruent our lives become. Okay, I also want to honestly acknowledge something here. Becoming more congruent in your life isn't always comfortable. Every time we choose an action that is congruent for us, that aligns with our truth, when we show up out in our lives in a way that reflects how we feel inwardly, we become more ourselves and we risk something. We risk being misunderstood, disappointing someone, a relationship shifting, a boundary being tested. So congruence takes courage. And courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing how to show up in alignment with our truth anyway. We'll spend more time with courage in a future episode because it deserves that space. But for now, just know this. Every small act of congruence is also an act of courage. Okay, I want to offer you something a little different in our practice today. We're going to work with the body directly because if congruence is about inner and outer matching, the body is where we want to start. So I invite you, if you're able, to stand up for a moment. If you're not able to stand up, sit up nice and tall. Whether you're standing or sitting, gently shake out your arms and your legs. Just loosen everything up for a few seconds. And then come to a comfortable stance with your feet about hips width apart. Take a slow breath here. I invite you to say out loud, "My name is," and say your name. And then just notice what happens. Some people notice themselves leaning slightly forward. Some notice themselves pulling back. Some notice absolutely nothing. There's no right answer here. We're simply becoming curious about how our body responds, how our body communicates our truth with us. Now, try saying a name that isn't yours. "My name is," and a false name, and see what happens. Or you can simply alternate by saying yes, 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 and no, 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 no. Again, don't worry about getting the right response. Notice what the response from your body is. We're beginning to explore your body's compass. Bring to mind something in your life where you may have been sensing a quiet incongruence, a situation, a relationship, a pattern, a choice you keep making that doesn't feel quite like you. Find that tall posture and ask yourself a simple yes or no question about the situation. And instead of immediately searching for an answer in your mind, pause. Notice what happens in your body. Maybe you notice tension, maybe ease, maybe resistance, maybe a sway or a lean, maybe nothing at all. Whatever you notice is simply information. And that information may come in a whisper right now, and it may feel really easy to override. But the more you practice listening, the louder and the clearer that message gets. Most of us begin noticing these signals from our body after we've overridden them. And then eventually we begin noticing them during the moment. And with practice, we can begin noticing before. We can notice the signal from the body before we override it. And that progression, the after, during, before progression, that's embodiment. That's the practice. Congruence isn't a destination you arrive at all at once. It's a practice. One choice, one moment, one small act of listening to yourself at a time. Insight alone doesn't change our lives. We can have beautiful realizations and still find ourselves slipping back into those old familiar patterns. So I invite you to shake your body out, ask a yes or no question, and listen for that quiet truth that may arise. In the next episode, we're going to explore the difference between offloading our experiences and truly integrating them. Because transformation doesn't happen simply because we understand something. It happens when we begin living it. Until then, listen to your body, trust the information it's offering, and let your life shine.